Hey, welcome to another video from the Outdoor Analyst. Today I have got a follow-up on the SE3. Now, I have been a proponent of Esee, even though I have not owned one for years and years and years. I've actually sold tons of Esees back in the day when I worked at a company, one of the biggest knife shops in the state. And I never picked one up just because they were usually always in 1095. And it's never been a steel that I've really loved. Although I love the ergonomics and just the use of Esees. They seem really cool, great company, awesome warranty. But as soon as I heard they were coming out with one in S35vn, I had to jump on it, especially with their new kind of handle scales that are G10 and 3D kind of sculpted, so they're a little more curvature on them. And on these, they do get a little bit wider in the back and then really thin up front here. And for me, as soon as I picked it up, I realized that to me this was going to be a really good field dressing knife, and that was immediately my first thoughts. It seems like the exact size. It's a little under 4 inches. I think they're 3.88. Actual cutting edge is like 3.25, right around there, maybe a little bit more than that. But I do like the choil that it comes up with. And I think they actually made this choil bigger on this version than the original SE3, which is very cool. I have fat fingers and I'm still able to use it. But as soon as I picked it up, that's just what it seemed like it was going to be. Now, over the last few months, I've done lots of woodwork. I've made a bunch of fires at the house with it, cut up a bunch of food for dinners, opened packages, boxes, the normal with tape and whatnot. And S35vn, their heat treat has been great. This thing still has a great edge. I think I stropped it up once or twice. That's really about it. So the S35vn, awesome. Super stainless, went through food. There's no staining. Obviously, I wiped it off, but had no issues with it. And edge retention was great. Seemed like regular S35vn to me. Nothing astronomically good or bad about it. It's probably one of my favorite steels, especially for folding knives. It's actually really one of my favorite steels because it's easy to sharpen. It's very tough for a stainless steel. And yeah, I'm a fan, and that's really why I picked it up. Now, this is not perfect for everything. This is a very thin handle, and even though it's contoured, it is not exactly a woodworking handle whatsoever. Now, that's not necessarily something that a lot of people do. Not everybody bushcrafts, but when I was doing lots of feather sticks, one, blade was great. It's a full flat ground, double bevel down there, just fine. It did them just great, but it was very uncomfortable. Just a minute or two of this, and it is pretty awful in the hand. It is what it is. It's a thin knife. It wasn't meant to be a bushcraft knife, but I do think it is a good camp knife. So bushcrafting's out. If you're just doing a few feather sticks, it's going to be fine. It's be no big deal. If you're going to quote unquote baton through some small kindling, yeah, that's just fine. It's S35vn. You're not going to have any issues with it. I had no issues with little kindling, and, is it really made for that? No, but it worked just fine smacking it through. So, and the finish was great. Finish doesn't look like it's had too many scratches or really anything on it. Okay, there are some scratches, but stonewash is done really well. I think that's stonewash, at least it looks like it to me. So, yeah, bushcrafting, yeah, if I'm going to go out of a 5-star rating, it gets a 2. It's not very good. Great blade. That was really fantastic. I have no issues with that. It's just not comfortable. It just hurt after a pretty short amount of time. Not really meant to do that. Cutting up food was great. The flat grind's fantastic for it. Get really great control out of it. Has a good belly. And honestly, as a camp knife, it's a little short for my preferable camp knife, but it'll do just fine. So if that's kind of what you're looking for, yeah, I have no worries. Pick up the SE3. It's nice and small. If you're going to put this on a plate carrier, go for it too. I think that's great. It's a nice, small, lightweight little beast of a knife. The jimping's not too aggressive. So if you're really bearing down, yeah, you'll feel it because it's jimping still, but it's not too bad. Where I really think this is going to shine, and where it did, as soon as I picked it up and thought, field dressing knife, it is. This is definitely going to be my backup for field dressing, without a doubt. I think this is now like $115, $130 knife. Do I think that's going to be a problem? Or, I think you're like, getting hosed for that amount of money. Not at all. No, it's great. It's just a thin handle. If I had smaller hands, maybe it would be better. But it's still, I don't think it's going to be, not your bushcraft knife overall. So, positives, very lightweight, love the steel, has a nice blade, kind of a thin handle, perfect for really choking up, getting up there, a lot of control. Just not bushcrafty, and that's me. What I do with a lot of my knives is bushcraft with fixed blades, or they're for hunting specifically, or they're for firecraft specifically. And you know what? This knife fits perfectly, kind of for what I thought it would do really well, and I can't fault it at all for that. What it's very similar to is kind of what I thought it would be a fault, and even F1. These are pretty darn similar as far as what I would actually do with them. And I've taken this knife and used it all around the house, used it fishing, for just about everything. And steel wise, VG10 wrapped in 420C, S35vn smokes it every day of the week. Now this is convex, but this is a nice thin ground S35vn, full flat grind. This would be a great little fishing knife too, just all around the house. If you need a fixed blade, something a little bit thicker. Granted, it does have a kind of a delicate tip. The F1 is much thicker, which is good because I've done some pretty stupid prying with this thing and it's still done well. But this is a little more delicate, and that's why I think it fits the whole hunting area really, really well for me. But the F1's good competition to it. I'd say if you're more bushcrafty, this handle's probably a little bit better. Although, yeah, and the convex helps with bushcraft a little bit more too. If you're looking more for a camp knife, more field dressy, yeah, this thing smokes it. I think this is just really comfortable. It's really comfy. I'm not going to say it's not. This feels comfortable, but just because it's so thin, it just digs in really fast. And the grips on this are just fine. Really, really good. So if you want more of a bushcrafty, you could go this route. I think these are about the same price range. I think you do get a better steel with the Esee, just a little better, a little thicker handle, I feel like, with this versus the Esee, or it kind of just seems to fit my hand a little better. Or you can run this route, a really small bushcrafty knife, if that's kind of your feel. This is an LT Wright, what is this, Jesmic C, I think? Yes, AEBL steel, probably a little tougher than S35vn, does not hold an edge nearly as well. This is a CPM super steel, AEBL, so really clean, non-powdered steel. Super, super comfy. This is really comfy for the bushcraft. If you're going for that small, 3.5 usable edge, I think that's pretty darn close. This is kind of your money. This might be a little bit more money, an extra $30 or so, something like that. Yeah, way more comfortable than this for that sort of hold. But I think they're also meant for different things as well. This is more clearly woods work. This is more clearly just, camp, EDC sort of tasks. And for that, I think it's pretty darn good. So did it fit exactly what I wanted? Not really. I guess I was really hoping these handle scales would be wider. For some reason, I just felt like, they were going to be 3D contoured, really big and nice for my hands. They weren't. They aren't. Is that really a problem? Nah, not really. For me, it's going in the backpack, which is great. The sheath is super nice little plastic sheath. It's not Kydex. It's just, I think, a plastic polymer molded. It does sit incredibly high on the belt because it doesn't have a dangler or a drop loop. You are literally putting this on your side. So, hey, if you have love handles, this is absolutely worthless to you. This will be just a pain in the butt. For me, I'm just going to chuck it in the pack. Works great like that. I'm never going to put this on my belt because it would never work well and be comfortable anyway. I like to dangle everything on a dangler, or at least have it, equal with my waistline. So I do not like the clip section on there, but I do like the sheath. I have no qualms about it. Works great. Never had an issue with an Esee sheath. Even though they're not Kydex, they still work really, really well. So there it is. SE3, my follow-up review. It was what I thought it was. It's a great field. It's going to be a great field dressing knife. This thing's just going to smoke through Bambis like nothing. And it's going to be awesome for that for me. Or maybe just to, a little bit of a kitchen prep whenever I'm out camping, or it might even find its way into the tackle box. Probably a little bit of all three, just like the Falcon even kind of does too. So there you go. That's my review. Great knife. If you're interested in it, the handle contours are better than the regular micarta by far. G10 is a little heavier than you would think. It's heavier than micarta, so it does balance further back. It's very back heavy. It is not balanced. It's very, very, very back heavy. I don't mind that at all. I think it works really well. It feels comfortable that way. But just know, these are weighty, and they are not very thick. But they will weigh more than your micarta scales. So heads up on that one. G10 in a nutshell. Not super aggressive either, which is good. I don't like crazy aggressive stuff on there. It's pretty smooth, but it is textured. And I do like that they have the scallops there, and it does allow you to get your thumb really comfortably up there. So cool knife, cool design. They had some little upgrades and updates to it. Those are fantastic. Esee, I'd say they hit it out of the park. For me personally, if it was a nice fat handle, you put something that fat on there, and now we're talking. Now it's my sort of knife. But it is what it is. The thinner is better in some areas, and I can't fault them. Not every knife is going to be everything for everybody. Awesome. If you're interested, pick it up. It has my seal of approval. Thanks for sticking with me, and I'll catch you on the next one.